Hey everyone, welcome to The Lounge. I'm your host, Elaine Kwon, and we're about to bring you another scintillating episode of the hit Korean drama series, Damo.
This action-packed episode is entering its final phase, and you will not want to miss the build-up to the epic conclusion that had all of Korea on the edge of their seats. And join us today in the New Jersey Pine Barrens as we meet with world-famous tracker Tom Brown Jr. and learn a little something about real wilderness survival.
So stick around, we've got Damo and much, much more coming up here on The Lounge.
The wilderness has become a foreign and terrifying venue for even the most trusting of environmental enthusiasts. It's for reasons like this that Tom Brown Jr., world-famous tracker and survivalist, began his tracking school in the Pine Barren Wilderness of New Jersey.
So Tom, you are a living legend and a man who needs no introduction, and it's an honor to meet you. Now, I've read some of your books and many of your articles and all, and your mentor at an early age was the Apache native called Grandfather.
Right, we called him Grandfather. His given name was Stalking Wolf, and but we all knew him as Grandfather.
What impact this has had on your life? I know it's...
When I was growing up, literally my backyard looked like this, so I didn't have too many choices as a kid, and I didn't even see a television until I was 18 years old. I had no interest in it, my parents couldn't afford it. So I loved anything to do with the woods, the bush, and when I met Grandfather, it was like it was a gift from the Creator, because this man possessed everything I wanted to know. I was always intrigued by someone who could go in with nothing and survive endlessly.
What is the first thing you would teach a novice like myself about wilderness survival?
In survival, you follow the sacred order: shelter, water, fire, food. More people die of exposure than they do of starving to death, you know? To keep oneself sheltered, whether the right amount of clothing or how to make your own clothing or building a classic shelter, that is essential. Survival gives you that confidence that no matter what happens, you're going to be able to survive. Mm-hmm. So you don't have any apprehension out here anymore. It becomes home, not a wilderness. To me, it's a big playpen, you know?
Have you ever found yourself in a survival situation that was beyond your skills or training?
The only time I've been beat up in a survival situation was when I went against the laws of survival. Like this one time, I was out in Montana, it was the end of summer, and I figured I don't need a debris hut. You know, that night started off at 70 degrees, which was odd. By the next day, it was 20 degrees and there was 2 foot of snow, and I couldn't get right away to building material. I came close to freezing to death, but I disobeyed that law. I should have built that shelter. I didn't listen to my inner vision, which told me there's a storm coming. I mean, even the insects knew.
Thank you so much, Tom, for having us here today.
You're very
It's
welcome. Thanks for coming to my home.
The first rule of wilderness survival is shelter. And one of the things that's taught here at Tom Brown's Tracker School is how to build a hut. So first we're going to take a look at some of the advanced shelters, and then we're going to learn how to build a debris hut. I'm here with Therese McPally. She's a caretaker here, and this is her shelter.
This shelter was built by a man named Ed about 2 years ago. And I've just finished weatherizing it for the winter, redoing a bunch of stuff on the roof.
What does that mean, weatherizing it?
Basically, I had to pull all of the old debris off and patch up any holes in the actual roof, and then put piles and piles and more piles of debris on for insulation and to shed water and all that kind of stuff.
Great. Well, can I take a look inside?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on in.
Okay. Do you have a snake living with you too?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Couple of them. Yeah.
No.
Usually if I light the candles at night, then they come out because it's warm.
And they just hang out?
They kind of go in and out, and they, but they're not allowed on the bed, and they're not allowed on me.
And I like the window opening here.
This is kind of an oven. You can pile coals on top of this, and then you can put your stuff that you want to bake right inside there.
What's this here?
This is, of all things, kind of refrigerator.
Cool. Neat, built in like
Yeah, so
that.
if I put like a little thing of ice in there, then I can keep stuff
Oh, I
cool
love
right
that.
here.
Oh, that's so great. Now that we've seen what some of the advanced shelters look like, Christy is going to take us through the process of building a hut out of nothing but wood and loose debris.
The debris hut is if you're in a survival situation and you need to build a shelter for a night or a couple nights. So you would look for your ridge pole first, and then we've built a tripod here that we've lashed together with an oak sapling. Now that we have our ribs on there, what we're gonna do is put some lattice on. What we need to do next is just gather all the debris, all the pine needles, leaves, everything that we can find, and just pile it on top of the shelter. We need enough debris that when we stick our arm in, it's at least this thick. This shelter is for any season, even in the dead of winter, Montana, where it's snow, cold.
Oh my God.
If you have enough debris, it will keep you alive. So,
That's amazing.
we're climbing.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going into the debris hut, and I'll see you guys next year.
One of the 4 basic survival skills is how to build a fire. And Tawny and Christy are going to show us how it's done from scratch.
What's important with fire, especially if you're doing fire by friction, which we're going to demonstrate to you doing the bow drill, is to understand that each layer is responsible for lighting the next. And that's why we really want these small sticks on the inside. So we want to make sure all the layers are touching.
So it's really important to keep the tinder bundle off the ground because there's a lot of moisture on the ground usually.
Okay.
And so we're gonna just put it on that rock. That's it. There we go. That little area right there is cattail down.
So this is the spindle and this is the fireboard. And what happens is the spindle goes into the fireboard, and as it turns, it creates dust.
And the bow is what basically creates the tension with which to move the spindle and turn it and create that friction. And it speed up a little bit, give it a little bit more. Yeah, there it is.
This is great. Hey everyone, we're all out of time. This was an amazing experience. Many thanks to Tom Brown and Christy, Tawny, Therese, and the rest of the Tracker School. Log on to www.trackerschool.com and join us next week for more urban adventures here on The Lounge.
Do me a favor, hand me that rock. Sure.
Oh, you got me! You got me! That was great.
Whenever you want out, that's what you say.
All right.
Yeah.
You were great. Thank
Have
you
fun,
so
gang.
much.
Tom, thank you for everything.
We'll get you out of the woods.
That's for